superhero person. I was like, oh yeah, I could probably do a comic book. I could do comic books, it's fine. Ahoy mateys! Welcome back to another I Spy in July video. I'm having fun with these random greetings and I have to say it's been pretty interesting. But I am talking about something I love today. I wanted to give you a glimpse into my life and me as an author and as a person and in general, some stuff that I enjoy, some stuff about my writing and my book Kidnapped Entanglement. But I also today wanted to give you an insight into me and some of the things that I might mention as I continue releasing videos or posts or blog posts or whatever. I am a superhero person. Yay! I am a superhero person. My first proper experience with superheroes would have to have been it's really embarrassing. I don't know if anybody remembers this movie, but there was a movie called Sky High, which Disney did, and it was essentially a bunch of superheroes, kids who had powers as teenagers, went to a superhero school, and I liked it. I liked it. It seems like a relatively... It wasn't anything like Young Justice League or something like that, but it was way more corny. But I don't know, it was something about it. It was a fun movie and it was like superpowers and kids with superpowers and, you know, it was all about like being a teenager, I suppose, but with superpowers and trying to discover who you are, I guess, because his main character didn't have any, even though his parents were both the most amazing, incredible superheroes ever. But regardless of any of that, it was my very first experience with superheroes and it had nothing to do with the major well-known superheroes. And I enjoyed the movie but forgot all about it. And then when it came to the very first Iron Man that Marvel released, I really liked it. There was something about it I just really liked. And from then, I just was always at the Marvel movies, and I think that everybody sort of followed that phenomenon, and it went really popular, and it exploded, which was beyond what anybody expected. But as I sort of journeyed along this superhero bandwagon, I also discovered the DC superheroes, and there are a lot of people who are one or the other, DC, Marvel. I am both because I like all of the heroes over Marvel. DC doesn't really matter to me because I love heroes like Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and, you know, all of those DC heroes, which are really fun. The Flash, I love The Flash. And when those TV shows came out, Arrow and The Flash, and then like, well, yeah, they've done a million since then, Supergirl, and I think, did they do Batwoman or something? I can't remember. I lost track after a little while, but they did so many. Legends of Tomorrow. I love the DC superheroes as much as the Marvel superheroes for different reasons. So DC can be quite a lot darker compared to Marvel, and their heroes can be a little bit more dark compared to that, but I still enjoy aspects of that. And I think Batman, I loved having like Batman stickers and Batman stuff. I have on my car, I ended up on my car with a million superhero stickers. I ended up having to pull some of them off because it was just ridiculous. But I love superheroes. I love a good hero, and when they have superpowers, then, you know, I'm there. Like, it's great. And then once I realized that I did like superheroes, I went back in time to I went back to all of the old superhero stuff. I watched all of the Superman movies that were originally released, and I loved them. I loved the different take on Superman compared to like a Man of Steel Superman. And then I also really enjoyed the TV shows that they did back in like Lois and Clark. Lois and Clark is one of my favorite Superman explorations. I loved Lois and Clark. It was great. And then I had Smallville as well, which was phenomenal. I love Smallville. It was so good. I think that was my first proper Superman exploration, was Smallville. But actually it's not the Superman part necessarily, it's the becoming the Superman part. But I loved exploring all of that stuff. And then also you had the Arrow and the Flash. I ended up stopping Arrow, but I did love the Flash, and I've recently started watching Supergirl. Like I said, I lost track. There's so many shows that all interlink to each other And as fun as that can be in movies, I think in TV shows it makes things a little complicated, but that's fine. And so, yeah, I stayed on the superhero bandwagon, and somewhere along the line, probably 5 or 6 years into this journey of loving superheroes, I discovered I like all these stories in movies and TV, but I actually didn't own a single comic book, and I'd never even opened one in my life. And this is where all of these characters come from. They come from the comic books, and I had to ask myself, am I a comic book person? Do I care enough to have a comic book? Do I care enough to open one? I didn't know, because I was also a fan of The Big Bang Theory. I was like, oh yeah, I could probably do a comic book. I could do comic books, it's fine. And I went to some of my first Comic-Cons ever in Victoria, probably only 5 or 6 years ago. And I loved them. Right when I was watching Smallville, we had Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum come to the Australian and the Melbourne Comic-Con, and they came, and I was dying because I was like right in the middle of the series. So I went and I sat and I went and I was like, I'm totally 1,000,000% there. But I did go and I watched the talk that they did, and it was so much fun. I think that was probably my first Comic-Con. And they were the main reason why I went. But they weren't the main reason why I went back every year, because I found it was so fun. There was stuff to look at, stuff to go and hear about. It's not just superheroes at these events, it was all sorts of other sort of pop culture, fun, cool things that they did. And that was where I got my first comic book. I took a risk and I bought a comic book for like, I think maybe $5 or something, super cheap. It was probably like I was pretty particular with my first. I got 2. One of them was about music, which I also love. So I was like, oh, a superhero that I know. I think it was Arrow. A superhero I know and music, why not? No, that was The Flash. The music one was The Flash. And then I got an Arrow one. I had these 2 comic books, and I looked through them and realized I can't read a comic book. I don't enjoy the flow of a comic book. I don't like reading it. The pictures are fine, but that's sort of, for me, it's like a half a story, And so I didn't actually want to read these comic books, but I did like having them, and I did like knowing that I had them. And so I ended up, across the next few years, I bought comic books here and there and everywhere. I found random ones like Disney, Goofy. I think I have a Goofy spy comic book somewhere. But I found all these really funny, random, ridiculous. I ended up with, of course I got Superman, I got Captain America ones, I got Iron Man, well, hello. And so I got all of these, I got all these comic books, and recently went through them all and realized there is no way on the face of this earth that I'm going to A, read them, and B, it's just so silly to keep so many. So I ended up selling and getting rid of quite a lot of them, but I did keep the important ones. And I think I got one which was like almost like a book, really. It's like a graphic novel more so than a comic book, I would classify it, because it's quite long. So I discovered I don't particularly enjoy the actual comic books, but I still love the characters and seeing them in a movie or a TV format. And, that was really interesting to find out. But I also discovered I don't mind reading it if it's a full-length book. So it's something about the comic books, I suppose. But I did find a Lois and Clark novel somewhere in like a secondhand store, I think. And I found it, and I was so down to read this book. And it's on my list to read. And so I think it's just more so when it comes to comic books, they're very short stories, and it's pictures, and the format is different and unusual. So am I a comic book person? No. Am I still a superhero person? Oh yeah, of course. Love myself some superheroes. As a matter of fact, as I'm recording this, Loki is still coming out. Episodes are still coming out of Loki, and I am really enjoying to watch that. Unfortunately for me, some of the Marvel stuff that they're releasing, or that they're planning to release, is gonna start becoming a little bit too creepy for me. They're sort of delving a little bit more into sort of supernatural ideas, and that for me, I don't do that. So I had to miss some things. I am very cautious with Doctor Strange stuff, and I also am, I didn't watch Venom. I didn't watch WandaVision, although it looked really funny and really interesting, because I also love old TV shows, and so it's killing me that I can't watch it, but I did research first and look it up and say, is this something that I personally can watch? And I decided no, which is really sad, but I am watching Loki, and that is really fun, and I just, Loki's been around forever, but he's fun and it's interesting. So yeah, so am I a comic book person? No, but I will keep watching and I will keep going with whatever I can when it comes to superheroes, because they are the best. I love the character of Shazam, so funny. It's like, a kid gets to be a gigantic superhero man person, like, who thinks up these things? Amazing creative people, I swear. Anyway, the last thing that I really should do is tell you what my favorite superheroes are. Maybe I should keep that a secret. My secret identity is who I like as a superhero. No, I'm just kidding. Marvel, my favorite superhero is Iron Man, and DC, my favorite superhero is a tie between Superman and Wonder Woman. So it was Batman for a long time, but then I discovered all of the cool Superman stuff. Superman's fun. Yeah, so those are my favorite superheroes, if you wanted to split it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please let me know what your favorite superhero is, and if you are a DC versus Marvel type of a person, which one that you are. Love to hear about it. Thanks so much for watching another I Spy in July video. You can follow me on all my socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and my blog, ChristyGraceScarletPen.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the adventures.